In this video, you will learn all the tips that you need to beat the launch Easter egg on Black Ops 7, Ashes of the Damned. I have a way to do the lightning step in one round, the most efficient setup you can do, and I also have a ton of tips to help you beat this map's insane boss fight on solo. And speaking of the boss fight, if you watch this and you still need more help, then I will link my unedited boss fight completion in the description if you want to watch exactly how I beat it. If this guide helps you, please do me a favor and drop a like on the video so YouTube will push this guide out to more people who need it, and hopefully we can help them beat this Easter egg as well. Before you load in the game, if you have any of the following augments, be sure to put them on, because all of these augments will help a ton. On stamina, run free faller and quarterback. On speed cola, run classic formula and fast pitcher. Put PhD slider on PhD. Deadhead on dead shot. On double tap, put double standard and double time, and if you have a third slot on it, put double or nothing on as well. And finally, for your perks, these next three are the most important. First, on Juggernog, you want to run turtle shell and hearted plates. If you have a third slot unlocked, then put durable plates on as well. Turtle shell will make you take 0 damage from behind, just like the zombie show from older games, and it'll also give you normal armor mitigation from the front. So be sure to put this on, because there is one step in here that this will come in extremely helpful. On Wisp T, run Mask of Salvation and Extension. Mask of Salvation will give you 3 more revives, and therefore 3 more chances in this boss fight. And speaking of, finally for quick revive, run Equivalent Exchange and Emergency Medical Kit. The latter will allow you to craft 4 self-revives in one game, allowing you one more attempt against the boss fight. And Equivalent Exchange basically works like how self-medication did in Black Ops 3. As long as you have either ray gun, then you can kill a zombie with it when you're down, and revive yourself with it up to 3 times in a game, and you will keep your perks every single time. And finally for the augments, on Ether Shroud, run Burst Dash and Extra Charge, or if you're in co-op, run Group Shroud. And for Energy Mine, believe it or not, run Turret and Extra Charge. We'll be using Energy Mine for one step in this Easter egg, and it will make it easier, but if you don't have it, that's okay, you don't need it, just again, it will make this easier. Now for your Gobblegums. To make this as easy as possible, I recommend you load in with Perkaholic, Wonder Bar, Respin Cycle, Gift Card, and Armageddon. Most of these are fairly obvious why, but as far as Wonder Bar and Respin Cycle, you want to try and get the Ray Gun Mark II for this boss fight, because it is really good. And just in case you pop Wonder Bar and you get the Ray Gun Mark I, use Respin Cycle on that, and you should be able to get the Mark II from your Respin Cycle. Also, you want to make a second pack for the boss fight. Put Idolize, Shields Up, Support Group, Aftertaste, and Power Keg. If you're on co-op, then you can also make a pack with stuff like Phoenix Up, Near-Death Experience, and No Up But There. When you first spawn in, our first objective is to unlock Power and Pack-a-Punch. In the spawn room, open this room and melee this grate and grab Ted's head and put it in Tessie. Also, grab this stun grenade too. Now, it doesn't matter what order you unlock Power in, but if you want to be optimal with it, I suggest you first take this way out of spawn to get to the cabin. In this area, you can find your first power station. You want to shoot the 8 or 9 spores on the side of it, and then shoot the big spore that'll spawn on top of it, and then you can come in the cabin and turn on the power. While you're here though, come in the kitchen right here and grab this jar of spores. We'll need it for an Easter egg step later on, but it's best to do it now. After this, get in Tessie and drive forward to Ashwood. On the bridge is another power station. Do the same thing with it and turn on the power, and after you turn on the power here, you will open up Tessie's garage, and you can park it in there and craft a workbench to add the Pack-a-Punch. Now we're going to start grabbing parts for the Easter egg, starting at the diner, so drive up there. And just real quick, before we go any further, to help you not get as confused trying to navigate this map from Ashwood, here's a pretty easy way to remember which path takes you where. On the side where there's a church in the middle, the left side will take you to the cabin, and the right side will take you to farm. On the other side where there's no church in the middle, the left side will take you to the Cosmodrome, and the right side will take you straight to the diner. So take this path to go to the diner. Starting from round 5 onward, you will have a chance that a cook will spawn here. When you kill him, he'll drop a key. Pick it up and go to the back of the diner and interact with this freezer to open it to get the Abomination heads. Also, while you're right here, right behind you there's a tomahawk. Make sure you pick it up for a step later. Now return to Ashwood and place Tessie back in the garage and craft the Abomination heads on Tessie. Now that we have the Abomination heads, we're going to finish turning on the power and start grabbing our 6 serum parts for the next step. So now go to farm, and in here is your last power station. Clear it off, then turn on the power in the barn. Now we're going to grab the 6 parts. You can get these in any order, but what I'm going to tell you is what I think is optimal. The first part you can get with that tomahawk. In the middle of the barn at farm will be a zombie. You want to throw your tomahawk at his ankle to knock it on the ground. Once you do that, you want to get a Molotov. If you're too low level that you can't craft one, or you don't want to waste the salvage, then you can find a free one right outside Tessie's garage. You want to Molotov this ankle so you can pick it up. And while you're at farm, the second part is here too. Remember that jar from the cabin? Well, that was for one of the serum parts. On the road here, you can place that jar on this horse. 2 full rounds after you place it, you can return to this jar and pick up the fungus. The third part you can get in the fog. All around the map in the fog, there are purple pods. Right here is every location on the map that I am currently aware of, but there may be more. If you shoot them with the Abomination turrets, then it'll drop a husk. I believe that this will drop the first time every single time, but if I'm wrong about this, please correct me in the comments. To get the fourth part, you gotta get it from a Ravager. You wanna use a Saw Blade trap on him, and it'll drop its eyes. This is best done on your second special round. And to get the last two parts, you're gonna have to wait a bit. The fifth one you can only get starting from round 16 on, because that's when your first Zursa bear will spawn. You wanna get to Zursa like a third of her health left, and then you wanna shoot it and kill it with the Abomination beam. If you took it out with the Abomination, then he will drop a limb. But just so you know, in some games that you play, you actually don't need to get this part. I'll explain how this works in a bit, but if you wanna stay on a low round, skip this part for now and move on to the next part, and you'll know if you need it or not later. If you're on round 16 before you start the serum step though, make sure you take out the bear with the Abomination head and grab the part. To get the last part for the serum, you're gonna need to craft the wonder weapon, which that's what we're gonna do right now. Get your weapon Pack-a-Punch and come to spawn. On rounds 8 and onward, an Uber class will spawn right here. You wanna take him out just like you did in Reckoning, shoot both his shoulder pad and then his helmet, and then take out the Klaus core, and he will drop a stabilizer chip. Pick it up, and now for the next step, you're gonna need at least 2 stun grenades. Come to Ashwood up here, and near Vulturate in this room, place that chip in this machine, and once it says it needs restarted, you wanna aim your stun on the ground of this cell, and you wanna throw at least 2 stun grenades. If they both hit Klaus, then he will get the stun effect on his head. If you see this, then he will come in the map in around 30 seconds. So now you wanna get in Tessie and go to the Cosmodrome. And by the way, just like in Mauer, you can click your tactical button to call Klaus up where you're looking. You wanna go to the Cosmodrome and take him down these stairs and open his door. You wanna place him right in front of this box and he will break it, allowing you to interact with it. Once you interact with it, you wanna stand in this red circle and scan yourself and defend yourself from the zombies, and don't let any of them come in this red circle. Also, if you're on co-op, then the only person that can stand in here is the person that hit the button. After you're in it for long enough, it'll finish and you can grab this canister. With it, you wanna get back in old Tessie and revisit all 3 power stations around the map in Ashwood, the cabin, and farm. So take this canister to the power station in Ashwood and place it in, wait for about 10 seconds and pick it back up, then go to the cabin next and do that one and save farm for last. After you do the farm one last, you can take this canister in the basement here and place it in this device. At this point, an eye will pop out of this device and you can interact with the other 3 sides of it to show some symbols. To figure out which symbols you need, take the fast travel and farm to Janus Towers and you will see 3 red symbols on these roofs. Take a picture of these symbols and return to the basement, and to enter your code you want to interact with all 3 sides until you see one of your 3 symbols. Once you have all 3 of your symbols on this device, interact with the eye and you will get the wonder weapon. Once you have it, there is just one more step, and that is a mini lockdown where you'll be trapped in this circle. To get free, you want to shoot all the green bubbles around this basement and then reload your wonder weapon to recall your ammo and pop them. Once you do this for all 6, you'll be able to leave, and now you can get your 6th and final serum part. Come to the Cosmodrome and buy Wisp Tea, and then go to Ashwood, and in between Double Tap and Vulturate will be a mirror in this room. You want to get your Wisp Tea to activate near it, and it'll go into the mirror and reveal a cube. When it does this, you can shoot the mirror with your wonder weapon to break it and get your 6th and final serum part. Now that you have all the serum parts, return to the Cosmodrome, and in the back of this area is a lab. You want to interact with the powder to spawn the code on the wall. This code is telling you 3 items on the table in front of you. You want to interact with the 3 objects as the game tells you to in order from top to bottom. To know what items your code says, look at this cheat sheet and figure out what 3 items the game wants you to interact with. This is where you can potentially skip the Zursa part. If your code doesn't have the word limbs, then you can do this step before you spawn in a Zursa. However, if it does have the word limbs, then unfortunately you will have to kill the Zursa with the Abomination head on Tessie to get the part. Interact with the items the code tells you to, and if you did it right, you can add the blood. If you did it wrong, then your character will make a remark, and you'll have to go to the next round to try it again. Once you do it right though, before you start this next step, make sure you have your wonder weapon Pack-a-Punched at least once, you have Juggernog, and you're fully set on armor as well. When you're ready, add the blood here to start the lockdown. To beat this lockdown, you gotta get kills in here while you're really low HP. The easiest way I found to do this is to shoot 3 to 4 wonder weapon shots on the ground, and then I'll recall them to kill the zombies. I'll do this over and over again in here, and while I'm doing this, I'll keep my back turned to the zombies at all times so Turtle Shell protects me and make sure I don't get hit. If you do it like this and you stay on top of your armor, then you should be okay and you shouldn't go down. Once purple smoke fills up in here, the lockdown is over, and now you need to grab 3 keys in the fog and take them to Ashwood to get the Wonder Waffe turret on Tessie. Each of the 3 keys have 3 spawn locations, and when you grab one, you will get a debuff. So while you're doing this, make sure you're relying on Tessie to take you exactly to your key and take you all the way back to Ashwood safely. We're gonna start with the blue one, which is probably the easiest. This key will spawn in the fog in between Ashwood and the Cosmodrome in this area in the map. The first location is as soon as you enter the fog from Ashwood, and it's right here on this cliff. The second location is a little bit past it, and you can find it on this pylon right above you. And the final location for this key is to the right of the entrance to the Cosmodrome, and it'll be on this ledge right here. When you find your key, you want to line up your wonder weapon crosshair and shoot the key with it and recall your shot to suck the key towards you. This might be a little hard with super sprinting zombies, so if you get overwhelmed and you can't hit it, just pop beneath a shroud or an idolize or throw a Gersh device or something like that. Once you pick up this key, you'll only be able to melee zombies until you place it down. So get in Tessie and return to Ashwood, and near Jug will be the same cube from the mirror. Place your key in the cube and that is one of the 3 done. The second key you can find on the Terminus ship going from Ashwood to farm. The first 2 locations are on top of the ship. The first one is in a zombie spawn here, and the second is behind it in this open blue crate. If it's not in either of these spots, hop in Tessie and drive under the ship, and your third and final location is right here in the back of it. Shoot it with your wonder weapon and suck it into the map and pick it up. This key won't allow you to run, so please make sure you have Tessie nearby so you can drive away as soon as you pick it up. Again, place it on the cube in Ashwood, and your third and final key you can find going from Ashwood to the diner. The first location is just past the order on the left side, and it's in the back of the Z-Rex's mouth. For the second location, you want to drive a little bit deeper and jump on top of this hill, and you can find your second key inside this Z-Rex's mouth, and you can find your third and final location near the diner entrance sandwiched between this cliff and this car. Suck it in the map and grab it and return to Ashwood. Once you pick this one up, you won't be able to regen health, so just keep that in mind. Once you place all 3 on the cube, you will get a cutscene, and on the other side of it, you will have the Wonder Waffe turret. Now, for the final time, you want to take Tessie to the garage and craft the Wonder Waffe turret onto Tessie so we can do the last couple steps. Now that you have the Wonder Waffe turret, there will be a purple clock right above Tessie's garage. You want to drive a little bit away from it so you can hop on the Wonder Waffe turret and shoot the clock with it to freeze your time. Once the time stops, shoot and recall a Wonder Weapon shot at it to turn it purple. And let me just say, the remainder of this quest is gonna heavily rely on this clock and your Wonder Weapon. So anytime I say get a purple Wonder Weapon, this is what you do. And just some ground rules for this clock. You can only freeze a clock once per round in your game, but you can get a purple Wonder Weapon up to 3 times per round because you can do it once on every single side except for the side facing Tessie's garage. Once you do this 3 times in a round, then the clock will start moving again and you'll have to flip around to do it again. And also, while your Wonder Weapon is purple, you can't shoot the Wonder Weapon or else you'll lose the purple effect. You can use your red gun and you can even melee with your Wonder Weapon, but you can't shoot it. Just keep that in mind. At this point, we gotta do 4 challenges to get in this boss fight. You can do these in any order except the cabin one has to be last. First, we're gonna start with one of the easier ones, which is the one at the Cosmodrome. So shoot the clock with your Wonder Waffe to freeze the time, then shoot the clock with your Wonder Weapon and recall the shot to get it purple. Now you wanna take the fast travel to the Cosmodrome. In this area, there are 2 spinning antennas. You wanna shoot both of these antennas with your purple Wonder Weapon. So shoot one of them and then go back to Ashwood and get your Wonder Weapon purple again, and then go back to the Cosmodrome and shoot the other one to start the step. Now come in this room right next to Wisp T, and there'll be 6 monitors flashing numbers and 2 monitors behind it flashing the same sort of symbols from earlier. The monitors showing the symbols are spelling out a word for you. The word will either be rocket, engine, launch, or weapon. So look at the cheat sheet right now and figure out what word that the game is spelling for you. This will be different every single game, so make sure you check. Figure out which word the game is spelling for you, and remember that word and the numbers that are right here next to it. The numbers on screen right now that are under your word is your code for this next step. Basically how this works is you get the word, and then you translate it into numbers based off of what number each letter is in the alphabet, starting with A equals 0, B equals 1, and so on. So when you have your numbers, come to these 6 monitors and each one will flash up to 4. You want to aim at the red button on the monitor and shoot it when your number is on the monitor. If you mess up and you put the wrong number in, then just fail all 6 monitors and freeze the antennas again. Just know if you fail this step, then you will get a different code the next time you do it. When you enter your numbers correctly, you will get a white flash and the rocket outside will launch. With that is one of the 4 challenges done. The next challenge takes place at Diner. Before you start this step, you need 2 things. 1, come to the cabin and buy a melee macchiato, and 2, before you get the purple Wonder Weapon, make sure that there's lightning striking the diner. If it's not, then flip to the next round and it's guaranteed to spawn there. So again, freeze a clock, get your Wonder Weapon purple, and now you want to drive Tessie to the diner. Make sure you drive Tessie because you need it for this step. Before we start this diner step, call on Klaus in the garage right here. Once he's in the map, you want to look at this clock on top of the garage and shoot it. Doing so will freeze the lightning and give you a 1-minute countdown to do this step. As soon as the countdown starts, you want to lure Klaus next to the zombie near Deadshot Daiquiri to wake him up. Once his eyes are on and he's getting moving, you want to get in Tessie and go behind this red 18-wheeler and ram the back of it to open it. Doing so will wake up the trucker zombie. And after he's alive, run inside the diner and melee this cash register with anything that's not your gauntlet to open it. Doing so will wake up the waitress. Now that these zombies are alive, to finish this step, you gotta take these zombies under the lightning. Now on solo, you most likely won't have enough time to do this, so after you get all 3 spawned in, wait for the lightning to go away and get back in Tessie, and around the diner there are 3 sparking poles sparking one at a time. There's one near both exits to the diner, and the third one is in the middle near this arrow. If you shoot all 3 of these with your Wonder Waffe to make them spark, then you can reactivate the lightning without having to flip around. So with this, you can fast travel back to Ashwood, get your purple Wonder Weapon again, and go back to the diner and shoot the clock to start the countdown again. Now that it's active again, you want to take the trucker and the mechanic on top of the garage, and the waitress on top of the diner. Specifically, the mechanic goes into orange lightning, trucker in the pink, and the waitress in the purple. After you freeze all 3, the lightning will disappear and show you all 3 of the wisps. If you see this, then you have successfully beaten this step. The next challenge is in farm, and before we even start, if you're on solo, I highly recommend you switch to energy mine if and only if you put the turret augment on. Regardless if you put it on or not, make sure you get 2 Casimir portals for this next step. So to start the step, obviously, get get the purple wonder weapon, and go to the house in the farm. Right behind the table on the wall is a clock. This clock will either say it's 3, 9, or 12. You want to look on the ground around this table for the Roman numerals of the time that's on your clock. Stand on it and then look at this zombie head, and it'll turn around and look at you, which is pretty creepy. Once its eyes are red, shoot it with the wonder weapon to start the step. Now you gotta grab 4 artifacts around farm. The first is right above you next to stamina up on this bed. The second is in the shed on this bench. The third one is upstairs in the barn next to death perception. And the last one is in the basement in this tub. Take these artifacts and place them on the 4 red circles outside. When you're ready to start a defense challenge, interact with one more time to get a white flash. You have to defend all 4 of these artifacts from the zombies for a minute to finish this step. And also, real quick, do not do this on a Ravager round. You're almost guaranteed to fail it on a Ravager round. If you fail it, then you'll need to interact with the red artifact and charge it like a soul box before you can try it again. This is pretty crazy on solo, but I do have a strat for you. Wait for around 5 to 10 seconds after you get the white flash and run and turn on the trap. This trap will protect this back one and any zombies that are going for the third one right here that come from the barn. So while the trap is active, you only have to defend the front 2 and maybe keep an eye on the third one as well. If you have the Mark 2 at this point, spam them on the zombies and that will make this pretty easy. But if you only have the Gauntlet, you want to shoot like 2 shots at each artifact and recall them to kill all the zombies at once. Once the trap is off, you want to shoot your energy mine if you have it to protect the front 2. Once you get to 30 seconds left, you're basically guaranteed to beat this. To finish this step off, you want to throw a Casimir on the ground right where I do, and it should be in such a spot so it'll suck all the zombies into it no matter which artifact they're going for. Throw one, and then once it disappears, throw your second one, and that should take you to the end of the step. After you beat the step, make sure you switch back to Ether Shroud. Now that we have these 3 done, we have one more step before the boss fight, and thankfully it is by far the easiest step in this entire Easter egg. Go to Ashwood and get your purple wonder weapon, and now go to the cabin. You want to go behind the cabin where the box location is and interact with this wisp. Now come inside the cabin and shoot this projectile with the wonder weapon. Doing so will make it show 4 areas around the cabin, either in front of the cabin, the back of the cabin, the fishing hut, and the shed. Make sure you remember the order that the game showed you these pictures in, because you now need to shoot the 4 reels in these areas in the same order. The front of the cabin is right next to the power switch here. The back of the cabin is behind this ammo box. The sheds is here on the shelf. And the fishing huts is in the ceiling. If you get the order wrong, then the game will jump scare you, and you have to go to the next round to retry this. And also, let me just say, before you move on to the next one, make sure that you saw the wonder weapon shot turn purple when it hit the reel. I say this because sometimes when you shoot it, your shot won't turn purple, so the game won't count it. When you hit all forward no jump scare, come behind the cabin and call in Klaus. Finally, take him upstairs near Speed Cola and run near this wisp and call Klaus right in front of this bed, and he'll pick up a call. If you lost the ability to call in Klaus, then you are ready for the boss fight. So if you have it, get your Ray Gun Mark II Tier 3 Pack-a-Punch. Make sure it's Tier 3, not Tier 2, but Tier 3. Get all of your perks, specifically though, Jug, Speed Cola, Stamina Up, Quick Revive, and Wisp Tea for backup revives, PhD, Deadshot, and Double Tap. For your Gobblegums, if you can, load in with Idolize, Shields Up, and Support Group. If you don't have these though, good backups to run are Power Keg, Aftertaste, Arsenal Accelerator, and if you're on co-op, run Near Death Experience and Phoenix Up. Get Tier 3 armor and max plates, get a self-revive if you went down, and for your equipment, make sure you grab Casimir portals. This is very important. This is by far the best tactical to run. Not only because it'll take the zombies off you for like 10 seconds, but also it is really good for taking out Xerxes in phase 3. For your lethal, it doesn't really matter, but for your score streak, make sure that you either craft a Disciple Injection or an ARCXD. And finally, after you have all of that ready, if you're on solo, make sure you can save and quit your game. Trust me when I say you will most likely need this, so make sure you have the option. And just remember, if you save and quit in the boss fight, before you load back in the boss fight, make sure you go to the next round so you can save and quit again. When you are finally ready for the boss fight, drive Tessie to the cabin and go behind the cabin and interact with Klaus. After the white flash, get back in Tessie, and now you want to drive Tessie from the cabin to spawn, from spawn to farm, from farm to Ashwood, and then finally from Ashwood back to the cabin in that exact order. I've had it to where when I did it outside of this order, not all the wisps will spawn. In each area of the fog, there are 3 white wisps that you have to run over with Tessie. They spawn in the same location every single game, so if you just follow the gameplay that I'm showing you right now, then you should be able to hit all 12. Also, keep in mind, for this step, there won't be any wisps at any of the point of interest around the map. They'll only spawn 3 per fog zone. Once you run over all 12, you will instantly be teleported into the boss fight. Before you do anything in this boss fight, move your character for a minute. If you don't, then there is a very small chance, but still a chance, that as soon as the fight starts, the game will glitch out and you won't be able to move. And trust me, you do not want this to happen after you did this entire egg. Once you look up though, the boss fight will start. Your main objective in this boss fight is to rely on Tessie to damage the boss and also to avoid his barrage of explosions. In phase 1, he will shoot these everywhere. From the time these red circles spawn until the explosion happens, happens, you have 4 seconds to get away from it. If you get hit by these red circles, then it will damage both you and Tessie quite a bit. If Tessie gets damaged, then just like in the fog, you can drive over these spores in here to repair it a little bit. Just keep in mind though, that these spores will only spawn one time at the start of every single phase. So try to only use them if you need them. If something happens to where Tessie breaks and you get kicked out of it, then you'll have to repair it. Anytime that this happens, you either want to throw a Casimir or pop an Ether Shroud and very quickly repair Tessie. While you're repairing it, make sure that the boss doesn't have any red circles lined up right next to you. And also, before you get back in Tessie, replate your armor if you have to. For protecting yourself here, I highly recommend that you use Casimirs instead of Ether Shroud, because you will get a max ammo at the start of every single phase, and your Ether Shroud takes quite a long time to charge in here, so I'd only use Ether Shroud if absolutely necessary. If you run away from Tessie or you take too long to repair it, then the boss will actually pick it up and he will throw it at you. If he picks it up, just stay on the run and you should be able to avoid it. Also, I feel like this is a pretty good time to mention what to do if you go down. If you put the augments on Quick Revive and Wisp T that I told you to, then when you go down, you want to get a kill with your Mark II as soon as possible to revive yourself with Quick Revive. Try to do this before Wisp T revives you. When you res yourself with Quick Revive, you will keep all of your perks, including Quick Revive, and the self-med augment will allow you to res yourself up to 3 times with it. Once your Quick Revive is gone, you then want to pop Aftertaste if you have it, and rely on Wisp T to revive you. Normally, Wisp T will not keep all of your perks, which is why I told you to pop Aftertaste. But with that being said, it still gives you 3 extra second chances. And if something happens to where you use all of your Quick Revives and all your Wisp Ts, the next time you go down, use your self-revive to get back up, and if you're not close to beating it, save and quit if you're on solo. And one more thing to know with this boss fight, if you get kicked out of Tessie and you realize you're low on ammo or armor, then there are 2 drops in this boss fight arena that you can grab with your wonder weapon. Getting back to the attack though, the tips I have for avoiding this is to, first off, drive slow. I know, it sounds counterintuitive, but trust me, the faster you drive in here, the worse Tessie's handling is. And the worse it's handling, the easier it'll be to spin out in here and get hit by like 5 explosions and fail. Now I'm not saying go snail's pace, but you should be going slow enough to where if some spawn in front of you, you can easily turn and drive away from them. And more tips I have for avoiding these, you can either drive on the outside of these circles to take minimal damage, or when red circles spawn, you can just do a 90-degree turn and drive that way until more spawn in front of you and turn again. If something happens where there are a bunch of red circles in front of you, I would recommend using your boost to get out of it and just keep going in a straight line with it so you don't spin out. One more way I have to avoid these is you can actually park Tessie in between a few of them, and again, you will take minimal damage. Now finally, moving on from this attack, let's go over how to beat this. In this entire fight, your main way to damage the boss is by ramming into him with Tessie. At the start of the boss fight, ram into him once to reveal a weak spot. You will deal over double damage if you ram into this. You can still damage him without doing this, but the more you hit the red spot, the faster you'll be done. Eventually though, after you hit it enough, the red spot will go away and you'll have to keep ramming him like normal until he gets an immune bubble and turns into a Beyblade like this. Once he starts spinning like this, you want to ram him in the middle with Tessie and it'll spawn a purple light somewhere in this arena. This purple light will only be on the ground for like 10 seconds, and if you miss it, then it'll go somewhere else in this arena. When you're trying to drive to the purple light, the boss will try to stop you from getting to it. When he does this, just boost around him and you should be able to get past him. Once you get the purple light on Tessie, you want to ram it to the boss again. Doing so will make the boss stay still and reveal a yellow weak spot under him. At this point, if you have the Mark II, you want to hop out of Tessie and spray into this weak spot with the Mark II. Don't run too far away from Tessie, but make sure you're staying on the run so the zombies don't hit you. If you don't have the Mark II, then what you want to do is switch seats to the Wonder-Waff turret and use it on the weak spot. After around 10 seconds, he'll turn back into a Beyblade, and you have to get the purple light again to do this again. You don't have to ram into him again to spawn the purple light. Just drive under it again, ram him again, and shoot his weak spot. After you do enough damage to him, the music will pick up, some spores will refresh around the map, and a max ammo and max armor will spawn on opposite sides of the boss fight arena. This means that you're now on phase 2. In this phase, the explosions will last much longer, and he will shoot more of these than he did before. In phase 2, your primary goal is to avoid these red circles at all costs. Once he stops the red circles, you want to hurry up and ram into him, and then immediately get back on the lookout for any red circles on the ground and try to dodge them. Remember, if you have to, you can use your boost to get out of a bad situation with them, but it will make it really hard to control Tessie, so only do it if you have to. Speaking of boosting, in phase 2, never ram the boss when he's doing this attack. If you do, then it'll be very hard to get away from the explosions. Again, just like phase 1, when you have an opening, ram into him with Tessie to damage him. And just a reminder, take your time in this fight. There is no reason to rush it, you are not on a timer, and in phase 2, there is no reason to go fast. Like I said, your main goal is to avoid taking damage with Tessie, and when he stops attacking you, you want to use that opportunity to ram into him. After you hit him a few times, his red spot will open back up and you can hit it again for extra damage. And another reminder, if you get out of the truck for whatever reason, make sure you replate your armor before you get back in. Don't get out of Tessie unless you're kicked out, but if you get kicked out, replate before you get back in. After After you do enough damage to him, he will get the immune bubble again. Again, you want to ram into him like this to spawn into purple light, then drive under the purple light, and ram into him again to make him stay still and reveal his yellow weak spot. At this point, again, you want to shoot it with the Mark II or the Waffe turret, and after you do enough damage here, again, the spores will come back, and the max ammo and max armor will spawn, and now you're in phase 3. This phase can be really crazy if you don't understand how it works, but once you understand it, I don't think it's that much crazier than phase 2. In phase 3, the boss will still be shooting explosions like normal, but he will also constantly charge up a laser attack. This attack will charge up for 10 seconds, and once he starts firing it, you can't get him to stop until his attack is over. If he starts this attack, you want to take Tessie to a wall because he'll most likely break it, and you have two options. One, pop Ether Shroud and take cover behind Tessie to take cover from the laser and crouch and repair Tessie and get back in it. You can either do that, or when you get knocked out, you can spam your score streak button to pop either your RCXD or your Disciple Injection to protect yourself from the laser attack, and once it stops, you can get out of your score streak and throw a Casimir and repair Tessie like normal. If you use your score streak, make sure you pop your support group to get another RCXD. To avoid this nightmare attack from ever happening, you want to save your boost for only hitting the boss. Only use your boost outside hitting the boss if it's absolutely necessary to keep yourself alive. When you have a boost ready, you want to ram into him and then immediately look on the ground and dodge all the red circles around you. You want to dodge these red explosions for like 5 seconds, and when your boost comes back, you want to ram back into him as soon as you can to stop him from doing it again. Basically, the trick to beat this phase is to keep the pressure on the boss and ram into him as often as you can so that he doesn't get his laser attack off. Once you get in the rhythm of things, I honestly don't think phase 3 is that bad. Just keep in mind though, near the end of the boss fight, a bear will spawn. If you can, I'd say just ignore him unless you get kicked out of Tessie, in which if that happens, you want to throw your Casimir on the ground and take care of him, and then repair Tessie and resume as normal. Once you ram into him for enough times to cancel his laser attack, he will turn immune for the last time. And with this, the laser attack is done. Now, all you have to do is get the purple light on Tessie one more time, ram into the boss and spray the yellow weak spot, and once you do enough damage, congratulations, you have successfully beaten Ashes of the Dam's Easter egg and also one of the hardest boss fights in Zombies history. Congratulations. I hope I was able to help you with this guide. If I did, please drop a like for all the tips I have in here. I understand this said quite a bit, but with that being said, this map is only a few days old, so if you watching this have any other tips that I didn't cover, by all means, put them in the comments to help out everyone else. Shout out to my members, thank you all so much for supporting me, and huge shout out to the new members, Barmello, Akagami, I think, Noddle Dog, again, I think, Jake, Freezy, and Arsonist. Thank you guys so much for becoming members. Click here to go watch more of my BO7 content, and with that being said, I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.